Hey guys, so just wanted to make another video and talk a little bit about my experience, but I just wanted to teach you how you can actually get paid to learn photography. So it's not clickbait, it's just through assisting and being an assistant photographer, which is what I did for 6 years before I started shooting for myself. And during that time, I got to work on every conceivable kind of jobs for furniture companies. I got to work on advertising jobs. I got to work on fashion jobs. Just every genre of photography, pretty much, I did it. And assisted photographers in it. And it's actually a really great way to learn out what you actually enjoy, because I'm sure, as I did, like as I was working on all these different types of jobs, you kind of pretty quickly work out the kind of jobs that or the kind of work that you really enjoy, photographers that you enjoy assisting. And I mean, for me, still life just wasn't my thing. I just found it really boring, just not very much happening. It was just, yeah, it just made my eyes close basically. But the genre, I guess, that I was most attracted to was advertising photography and shooting campaigns and shooting for brands. I just really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the assistant lifestyle, because once you're a busy assistant and you're working a lot, you get to travel, you get to go, to different places all of the time. You're constantly on the move. I was actually lucky enough to get to go to Japan with the photographer that I worked with, and had an amazing time there. We got to shoot in some cool locations. We got to shoot in the robot restaurant. We got to shoot we were actually the first photography team that was allowed access to shoot on top of the Fuji TV building in Tokyo, which is pretty amazing. And I got to stay in an incredible hotel in the banking district. We actually stayed at 2 different hotels, but I had a fantastic trip. It was amazing. I got to work with some Japanese crew. It was really, really cool. And that was probably one of the highlights of the 6 years that I was assisting. And but I just wanted to maybe give you a few tips of, if you're considering assisting, just maybe a few things that you definitely need to do, and maybe a couple of things that you maybe should not do. But I think the very first thing, if you're deciding that you want to be an assistant photographer, is you need to set an amount of time that you're going to assist for. So as I said, I assisted for about 6 years, and I think I assisted for too long, because the longer that you actually assist, the harder it actually gets to get out of assisting. You kind of get stuck in there. You're well known. You're getting calls from producers and agencies all the time, because photographers like working with you and they want to book you. So you could be really busy, but if you're not careful, you can kind of tend to get stuck in it. If the goal is actually to shoot and be a photographer, then you have to understand that being an assistant is part of the journey, but it's not the end destination. So you really need to set a designated amount of time that you're going to assist for, and that will actually help you, because if you set that amount of time, then you can actually start working towards that and start shooting for yourself, and really start to build up your clients and shooting for yourself while your assisting work starts to kind of taper off, which is what I did in the last 2 years that I was assisting. I stopped assisting for most of the photographers I worked for, and I only assisted for 2 photographers. They didn't actually work that often. They're both fashion photographers. And so occasionally I work with them, but it actually allowed me still to have a little bit of income coming in from assisting, but also it gave me time to be able to focus on my own photography and shooting for my own clients. So I think that's really important. You need to have an end goal, and you need to have a designated amount of time that you're going to assist for. Work towards not assisting anymore. Work towards shooting for yourself, and it might mean that on the weekends you've had a massive week, you've been assisting every day. On the weekend, that's going to be the only time that you have maybe to shoot your own work, to shoot something, and so you just have to be motivated enough, even if you're tired, to get out the door, get out there and go and shoot something. So that's one of the things I think. I pulled the plug, and I was starting to shoot for myself. And when you start, obviously you're not going to be making as much money as you are assisting, because if you're an in-demand assistant, you could be commanding, up to, $500 a day for an assistant day, and then you could be working 5 or 6 days a week. So that's pretty good money. And obviously you have to kind of let that go, I guess, when you're starting to shoot for yourself. And when you're shooting for yourself, you're not going to be earning that amount of money. So it's going to take time to build up your own clients and to build up so that you're shooting more. I feel like what you want is you want to taper off your assisting and the amount of money that you're earning from assisting, and you really want to kind of just be focusing on shooting more and getting more of your own photography jobs, just going like that. Another thing I guess I would say about assisting is it's an amazing education. You get to see firsthand how photographers handle different situations, how they deal with clients, how they work with models and talent, how they problem solve on set. And as an assistant, I think that's one of the main things that you're actually being paid to do, is you're being paid to solve problems on the fly. If something crops up, something happens, a camera's not working, a flash isn't working, you need to just think on your feet and you need to come up with a solution quickly. So that all the best assistants, they can do that. They can just troubleshoot, keep the bus moving of the shoot, and not get too bogged down if something goes wrong. You just got to get over it, keep pushing along. Another thing I guess I would say about assisting, you really need to be focused while you're assisting on being an assistant. When you're on set as an assistant, you're there to make the photographer look good. You're there to help the photographer in any way possible. And it's not about you. It's not about you and your work. It's about helping the photographer, doing anything that you can do to help the client, anything you can do to help and assist the photographer while you're on. If you're really lucky, you may get to go overseas like I did. Japan was an incredible experience, and I got to go to other places with assisting. There is potential you could get to travel maybe, which is an amazing experience in and of itself. So there's definitely more than one way into photography, and assisting is one path. I know lots of photographers that didn't assist, they just jumped straight into shooting, and that's definitely learning from mistakes that you make when you just shoot for yourself. If you're assisting, you actually get to see potentially other people make mistakes, or you get to see how other people work, and you can go, okay, well, I like how they do this, but maybe I don't like how they do that. And you can just pick and choose like how you want to work and how you want to shoot from assisting other photographers. And I guess one photographer in particular that I assisted was an incredible retoucher, and he used to retouch composites on set. He'd take models' heads and limbs and be retouching them all together and just doing it on set. And I'd just sit there and watch him, and I learnt so much from retouching, just from being on set and just from not saying anything, just being by the computer and just watching what he was doing. So that's definitely a great thing to learn, and a great thing to kind of pick up if you have an opportunity. So I actually decided to go and study photography, and I only lasted one term. It just really came down to the teachers that I actually got, college that I was attending. They were pretty old school. They came from like a film background. We were in a Photoshop class, and every single student in the class knew more about Photoshop than the actual teacher teaching the course. And I was just like, look, this is a waste of time. I'd already been assisting for a year. It was just like, I'm learning way more from assisting and getting paid at the same time. That's another great thing. You can actually get paid to learn, whereas like if you're going to a college or something, you're paying to be there, you're paying, and hopefully you get some good teachers that will teach you stuff, real world things that are going to help you run a business and help you, get clients and do all of the stuff all the different skills that you need. But assisting is just one way to learn and to get paid for it. I know plenty of guys that actually just didn't assist, they went straight into shooting, and that's a great option as well. I am really thankful and really glad that I had the opportunity to actually assist. You can definitely, there is a certain amount that you will learn assisting, and then once you start shooting for yourself, you really start learning. There's only so much that you can learn being an assistant and being in that assistant role, because at the end of the day, it's not on you. As much as you are there to help and everything, the pressure isn't really on you so much as it's on the photographer to deliver and to get the shot. Once you start shooting for yourself, it's on you now. So but it's a great learning experience, and I would really encourage anyone that's considering thinking about assisting. What you can do is you can contact different photography agencies that represent photographers. You can just call them up. All the rental houses that rent out photography gear and studios, they normally have a list of people, and so you can just call them up and ask to be put on their list, and they might ask you how much experience you have. So I guess that's another thing as well. When you're starting out, if you don't have any experience on set, you really need to say that. The more experience you get will actually determine how much money you can actually charge. So if you're brand new and you don't know anything, you're not going to be able to charge as much as, you know, say a seasoned assistant who's been assisting for a number of years. So I guess that's something to take into consideration. If you're thinking about assisting, it's fantastic, and you get to know other assistants, and then you can kind of be giving work to each other because you're not available, you're already on a job, but you can actually recommend someone. And that actually carried through from my assisting days of all the photographers that I assisted. I've shot a number of jobs for different photographers that I actually assisted once I started shooting. I was working for guys that were from Melbourne, weren't able to come to Sydney for a job, and so they recommended me, and I ended up shooting a job for them in Sydney because, you know, of that relationship which I'd actually had. So you definitely don't want to burn bridges. You know, I would definitely, if you can, stay on photographers' good sides. And, you know, if you're an easy to get along with person, you know, that's easy. Definitely, maybe it's not so much about the connections you make as an assistant, but they will carry through to when you actually start shooting for yourself. So there's definite benefits there. I think that's pretty much it, guys. That was just a short little video about being a photographer's assistant and how you can actually be paid to learn photography. So that's it. But if you have any questions about assisting, about photography, just feel free to drop a comment down below. I will get back to you. I'll definitely read any comments that I get. But that's it for now, guys. So enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one.